Hi, it's Donna Joy Usher here, and I want to talk to you about something that I've had a realization on. I've got some real clarity on very recently, so I want to share it with you now. Now, we all know the saying success loves speed, and this is so true when we're trying to create our online businesses, because it's the speed that gives us that momentum, that enables us to get over the obstacles that come up and to get us to have what we need to be happening to get that motion going in our business that allows us to have success. So you need to be able to harness the power of time and energy efficiency to be able to develop this speed that's going to give you this momentum that's going to lead to having the success that you deserve. Now, I recently got some clarity on this because I always knew emotionally with my emotional brain that time equals speed. I needed what I needed to do, but it wasn't until very recently that I was able to remove the mind drama that I had surrounding this subject. And we all know that mind drama is like sand in a machine. If you have mind drama about something, it's like you've taken a handful of sand, you've chucked it in, and all the cogs are now coated in sand, and it's gritty, it's not working as effectively, and it's all getting worn down. And that's what happens to us when we have mind drama. So I want to share how I remove the mind drama from the whole time efficiency thing, and to give you some tips that you can remove it as well. So I've been reading Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Body book. Now, you probably all know him for the 4-Hour Work Week. He's very famous for that. But what you might not know about Tim is that he's been a body hacker since he was about 18. So he's been searching for the most efficient, time-efficient, energy-efficient ways to do things with his body, like lose fat or gain muscle. And he's written a book on it. And he starts off the book talking about an example of what he's doing by body hacking with the time energy efficiency by talking about sunbaking. And he talks about how when you sunbake, you only need 15 minutes in the sun to turn on the melanin. So anything over that is a waste of time. And I was like, oh, I'd never thought of it that way. But then he goes on to say, you could spend an hour in the sun trying to work on your tan, and all that's going to happen is you're going to get burnt. And then in a week from now, you're going to be back to your white pasty self, probably minus some skin. Whereas if you had taken that hour and split it up into 4 15-minute increments over that week, you would now be a lot more tanned. That was when my mind exploded, all right? When you could take something like sunbaking, which, let's face it, there's a lot of emotion surrounding sunbaking. We get pleasure lying in the sun. You know, if you can take that and remove all the mind drama from it, all of a sudden it's just how to get the suntan in the most efficient way possible with reducing the damage to your skin. And he did that, and that's for me, my mind exploded, and all of a sudden I was looking at everything else in the same clear vision. How can we remove the mind drama from everything we're doing within our business so that we can get the maximum effort possible? So we all know that, well, time equals energy, okay? And we know that money is a form of energy as well, right? So if time is a form of energy and money is a form of energy, then that means that time equals money. So watch out, Einstein, here I come. So I want to ask you, so what do you have more of at the moment? Do you have more time or do you have more money? Because if you have more money, awesome. You can just pay people to do stuff for you, and that's going to help you get the momentum that you need to get going. But most of us, when we're starting out, we don't have the time. We don't have the money, we have the time, right? So at that point, we need to learn what we need to learn to get the job done so that we can start to get to the point where we can make money, okay? So if you have time, you need to learn what you need to do to get where you need to go. But at some point, that time is going to start to reward you with money. And that is the time when you need to start relinquishing things that you're doing and outsourcing and bringing people in. And by doing that, you're going to free yourself up with more time. And then you're going to be able to put that time back in, and you're going to build this momentum that's going to allow you to go. Now, a lot of coaches make the mistake of thinking that because they started out learning how to do everything, and they think that because they can do it themselves, they should do it themselves. And this is false, okay? Just because you can do something, it doesn't mean you should do something. And what you need to work out as your business grows is what you need to relinquish and what you should be relinquishing to other people. Your job is going to grow as your team grows. You are going to grow, become a leader, and eventually a CEO of your business. And you need to be able to learn how to do that. Now, I want to give you 5 tips on how to maximize your time energy efficiency. So the first thing is you need to understand the law of diminishing returns. So what does this mean? This means that there is a point at which the effort that you're putting into a certain task and the change in the result that you get from the effort going in starts to reduce. So initially you're putting energy in and you're getting this result, and then eventually you're putting the same amount of energy in, but the result is dropping off. So up to that point, you're being rewarded, but suddenly the extra energy is giving you smaller and smaller improvements. So let me give you an example of this. I wrote an email today. I wrote my email. So my largest effort, my largest reward for my time and energy that I got was the first draft I wrote for that email. Okay, I wrote that email and then I had this framework of an email created. My second best use of time was the first time I proofed that email. I went through it and I proofed it and I picked up the majority of my mistakes. Now, every time I reproof it, I'm going to be picking up less and less mistakes, but it's going to be taking me the same amount of time, right? So you see at that point in time, the result I'm getting is starting, for the time and energy I'm putting in, is starting to diminish. So this means that I'm entering a phase of diminishing returns. So another example of this is when I was writing my books. Okay, so I wrote my fiction books and I was proofing them and proofing them and proofing them. And I remember my first book I wrote took me 2 years of proofing, right? I can remember typing in, it was draft 21 or something like that. This was a 140,000 word book, so you can imagine how long it takes to proof something like that. It was vomit inducing, let me tell you that. Now, I proofed that book to the point where I got it edited, and then my editor, I paid to edit it twice, and she found errors. And then I got it back in print copy, and I found more errors. And then I ended up publishing it, and then my sister emails me and goes, hey, do you know there's a lot of errors in this book? And I was just like, holy shit, I've spent 2 years editing this book, and it's still got errors in it. Now, I could keep going, proofing and proofing and proofing until I was finally 100% sure that that book was absolutely perfect, and there was no typos anywhere. But what is a better way for me to spend my time and energy? Is it better for me to spend 10 years proofing a book so that it's absolutely crystal clear perfect? Or is it better to just get it to a point where it's 90% perfect, or where I'm starting to enter that phase of real diminishing returns and instead write 10 books in that 10 years? So time equals money in more ways than one. Not only can we use money to create us time, we can use time to create us money, and we have to remember that. So as you move forward in your business, you need to remember the law of diminishing returns and be aware of when you're starting to enter that phase so that you can stop. Now, the second thing that you need to know, the second way, the tip that you can overcome or make the most of time and energy, is understanding the 80-20 rule. Now, this is quite similar to the law of diminishing returns, but putting it in a different way. So the law of 80-20 rule, the rule of 80-20 states that 80% of your output will give you 20%, will come from 20% of your causes. Okay? So in reverse, what this means is that 80% of your time and energy will create 20% of your results. So hang on. 80% of your time to only get 20% of your results. So the first 20% of your time will give you 80% of your results. The next 80% of your time will give you 20% of your results. What if you stopped at the 20% of your time giving you 80% of your results and instead took that 80% of time, spread it out over 4 other projects, 20% each, and actually managed to complete 500% of the work that you would have if you had just taken it, that extra 20%, that extra 80% energy? Okay, I hope your brain just exploded, okay? Because most of us are going well beyond the 80-20 rule. We're trying to get things done. We're trying to make it perfect. Now, you've got to not let your fear of rejection, of being laughed at, of being criticized slow you down, okay, so that you aren't creating the momentum that you need to get success. You've got to get comfortable releasing B+ work into the world, realizing that your B+ work could be somebody else's A+ work. So everybody's idea of what is perfect differs, okay? So then that puts us up in with the whole logical question of, if a tree falls in the forest, does anybody hear it? If everybody's idea of what is perfect differs, is there actually really any such thing as perfection? No, there is not. It is just illusion, and we use it to self-sabotage ourselves because we are scared of failure. We are scared of rejection. So you need to put that aside, get rid of that mind drama, and just get the job done to the point where it's good enough, and then get it out there. Now, the third tip for making the most of time and energy is to create systems for everything that you do. This is going to make everything easier, quicker, and more streamlined. It's also going to make everything simpler when you come to hand it over. If you've got a system in place of how everything gets done, you can just hand that system to someone to take on, and you know that it's going to get done exactly how you want it. And you also means that you can check that it's getting done properly. Okay, rather than them interpreting how they're doing, they're going to do it exactly how you want it done. Now, systems also keep you accountable, because there's a system in place that's working, then you have to do the work to turn the system. Okay, you need to get organized now while you are still small before you leverage and scale. You need to get systems now. Otherwise, once you start to leverage and scale, it's all going to become a huge time-sucking disaster. And you're going to get to a point where you can't keep growing because everything is going to be chaos and disorganization. Okay, the fourth way that you can maximize time and efficiency is you need to use something called thinking time and something called doing time. Okay, you need to split up, and you need to have thinking time where you create things and doing time when you action them. So, for example, with this is social media. You could spend 3 hours on a Sunday sitting down and planning out what you're going to do for social media for the next week or even month. I mean, I spent 45 minutes on the weekend creating content for the group, and that was for 2 months. Okay, because I have a system in place. Now, that's thinking time. I'm sitting down, I'm thinking, I'm not being stressed out by the thought of then having to do something. Now, we automate everything here. So once the thinking is done, and then we go into our doing is actually sticking it into an automation process, like Loomly, I think we're using now, to then automatically post. So we're saving ourselves time and energy. They're using money through Loomly to save ourselves time, okay, by doing that. But by having that thinking time when I'm just creating, then I don't have the stress of the doing time. If you're not thinking about what you're doing, if you're just sitting down, so with the social media example, just say you're waking up every day and you're like, oh my God, I've got to do a video today and I've got to get a post, and what am I going to do it on, and how am I going to do it? And then you start to get all stressed out and get frazzled, and is that a good thing or is that a good thing? And before you know it, 2 hours have gone by and you haven't done anything, right? And you're like, oh my God, I've just got to do this, and then I'll do it, and I'll do it in the afternoon. You keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off until it doesn't get done. You go to bed that night feeling guilty. You wake up the next morning feeling overwhelmed, and you're back in the same pattern. Before you know it, weeks have gone by and you haven't done what you need to do to be getting that momentum to grow your business. Give yourself a gift of thinking time, okay? Time when you get to think. It may be just writing out a list of ideas for content one day, and then you might sit down and actually create the content another day. And then every day, if you don't want to use a scheduler, if time is really what you have over the money for a scheduler, something to do it automatically for you, each time when you hop up in the morning, you've already created what you're posting that day. You already know what you're going to do your video on, and you can just get it done. Okay? Now, the final way that you can maximize your time efficiency is to know the finish line. So what do I mean by this? Well, imagine that you're in a marathon and you're running and you're running and you're running and you're running and running and running, and you don't know where the finish line is. You're not quite sure where the end of the race is. So one or two things is going to happen. Either you're going to stop short of the finish line and never get there, or you're going to go way past the finish line because you want to make sure that you finish. And the first thing is a shame, and the second thing is a time of energy, a waste of time and energy, okay? You need to know what the finish line is. So you need to break down what you're working on so that you know exactly what you need to do. So how do you do this? Well, what's the benefit of doing this? Well, firstly, by breaking down your project into pieces so that you know what the steps are, you're going to be able to work out exactly how much time each of these steps takes. And that's going to allow your time management better and time block better. And you're going to be able to work out exactly when you're going to get this project done. It's much easier to work out how much a little step takes than to how much a project takes. Now, the second benefit of breaking down your projects so that you have it into steps, so you know what the finish line is that the project starts to look a whole heap easier when you've just got steps that you need to take. As opposed to when you are looking at the thing as a whole. I mean, that whole eating an elephant thing comes up, right? When you've got this massive project and it's just overwhelming and you're like, oh my God, I just can't start this today, all right? And you're never going to get it started. Break it down into exact little pieces of what needs to get done, and then just start eating it bite by bite. Now, the third and the most important benefit of breaking these things down is that you know when you're finished. You know when you've crossed that finish line, so you are expending the minimum amount of time and energy on any project to get it done. Okay, I hope that this video has given you a shift in exactly that time and energy and how to create the momentum within your business that you need, and that you've got some usable strategies and tactics out of it. Now, if you are looking for a way to perhaps plan better, to like break projects down and to time management better, grab my planner. It comes with training, so you're going to be able to get a downloadable PDF planner and also training on how to break stuff down, how to time manage, how to be a finisher, okay? So all you need to do to get that is go to donnajoyasher.com/planner, and you can get that planner and that training that goes with it, so you can start making the most of your time and your energy, getting that momentum going that you need to have a successful business. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.